So tonight we're going to Tavolino. Tavolino's in the Bay State Commons in Westborough and is upscale Italian food. I go to Tavolino every time my daughter runs the Boston Marathon, and whenever we have like a business event or kind of a big deal for dining. We actually had our company Christmas party here in 2011. Here's Ted's on the right. Since I don't see Jane Fonda in there with Ted, we're going to go over here to Tavolino on the left. I love the architecture at Tavolino. I think that they've done a very nice job of tying it into the old train station. Not a huge fan of the patio. It always looks to me like it's behind a bunker, but let's go inside. So this is Tavolino. I first reviewed this in August 2011. Gave it a good review, and then I went on vacation. Shortly thereafter, I get an email from the owner, a guy by the name of Graham Silliman. He's actually a really interesting guy. He's got 3 restaurants: Sienna down at Mashpee Commons, he's got Tavolino down at Patriot Place, and this one. He just wanted to talk food. So as we talked about doing a show, we thought it made sense to introduce Graham to the folks in Westborough and also the rest of Tavolino. Graham.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce you to Graham Silliman. He's the owner of Tavolino. How are we doing?
We're doing very well. We were ready for you. In fact, Anthony, our chef, is in the kitchen, and he started cooking your food. So we're going to go in right now.
Let's go.
All right, right this way. So, chef, first thing you're going to do today is the wild mushroom buscaiola, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this got to start. This is one of the things that your daughter had talked about when she was training for the marathon. The weekend before the marathon, we put this on the menu as a special for carbo loading. Okay. So wild mushroom buscaiola. I think it's, how many mushrooms do you have in there? What kinds?
We have cremini, we have oyster, and we have shiitake.
All right. So these are going to be sauteed. Well, you're also smelling the garlic. Everything smells good with that. The mushrooms actually will absorb a lot of the garlic flavor.
Tomatoes. Please that with a little marsala.
A little bit of marsala wine. There you go. Now, while Anthony's doing this, we've got Peter down at the other end of the line, and he's doing one of our pizzas, right? What kind of pizza is he doing?
He's doing a prosciutto and fig. He's also doing a beet salad.
We got a beet salad coming too.
Where do you source all the ingredients?
That's an interesting question, because a lot of people think that Anthony, like, he's a chef and he spends all day sitting here at a stove. And he does this because he needs to determine how the dish is supposed to be done, and he'll show every cook what it is that he wants. But if you want to know the real truth, day in and day out, what I observe as being a hard part of the job is getting the ingredients. So we had an example in previous summers. We always do an heirloom tomato salad with fresh mozzarella and basil. It's a simple, classic Italian dish. We tried to work with some local organic farms for that, and that lasted until midsummer. We'd get a call on a Thursday saying, I sold everything at the farm stand this week, I can't deliver tomorrow.
Right.
And I describe Anthony's kitchen here as the beast that must be fed. All right, if you put that heirloom tomato salad on the menu, the customers are going to like it. And if they like it, they're going to order a lot of it. And you have to have it every day, all the time. And we have to have a very, very good source.
That makes sense to me.
So we actually spend a lot of time on the phone just making sure that we can get the ingredients that we want the way we want. I believe right now, for example, we are doing tomatoes. In the winter, we actually get them from fairly close by. They come from Maine, which means they've got to be hothouse. We know that. But right now, we are getting fresh ones from South Carolina, and we can get those within 48 hours of being picked.
So it always amazes me how high a heat a chef actually prepares a meal. If I'm at home, I'm scorching everything right now. Why is it not scorching here?
He's standing right over that baby.
I mean, once
You've done it once or twice.
Been in the line of fire, you know, you just sit there and keep an eye on everything that's going on. You just have that watchful eye. And you just know, it's just that instinct, you know.
Remember also, you have friends over. Let's say you're going to cook dinner for 4. You're going to be trying to get dinner for 4 in that pan on your burner. It's going to burn. These guys are making one dish at a time for one person at a time. And so that changes the scale of everything going on in that pan. So so fewer ingredients in the pan, and you're basically setting it on top of a jet engine in terms of the amount of heat these things produce. These produce far more heat, far more BTUs than any burner, even in the so-called commercial ranges that sort of look like this that you can buy for your house.
Right. Well, commercial ranges that you buy for your house, you don't have all the ventilation, you don't have the sprinkler and the gases and all that stuff.
Right.
It's just not the same.
This whole back wall actually is a vent for the entire kitchen, and it had to be built that way because we're on the bottom floor of this building. The building was built to match a historic train station next door. By virtue of all that, we have a very low ceiling. So we have to live with the low ceiling instead of vent overhead. The back wall is a part of our ventilation system, the entire wall. All right, so you're going to plate it up.
Here's the big thing, right?
All right, we'll put that up on the pass. So what Anthony's going to do now is calamari. This, in our restaurant, we consider it what we call a reference dish. Anybody could go to any Italian restaurant in New England, and this is going to be a standard thing that they order. And it's one of the ways that they compare the restaurants. And if the calamari is good, then maybe they'll look at the rest of the menu too. First thing to look at here, this is a simple dish, and it's a very classic dish, but we handle it with a fair amount of respect. You're not seeing him cut open a bag of breaded squid rings. He gets the squid, and he's now dredging it in his batter, and now he's dropping it in the fry basket, and he's going to fry it here. Now, Chef, did you just have the squid, or did you get the peppers in there too?
Sliced cherry peppers.
Okay. We have some sliced cherry peppers in here, and those have been soaking in milk, which we find that helps the batter to adhere. And so when you get the plate of this, it's going to be the squid, which is the rings. It actually is the tentacles. You can see what the animal really is, and it's going to be the cherry peppers. This is probably one of the biggest selling appetizers. Nice golden color. Keep the oil very clean. There's a spicy aioli or mayonnaise that's going to go in that for dipping for the calamari, and of course the fresh lemon. You can see the cherry peppers in there along with the squid. Okay, so this just came out of the oven. This is a prosciutto and fig pizza, and it has the prosciutto and fig and the cheese on it when it cooks in the oven. And then as we put it out on the pass, as it comes out of the oven, the arugula goes on it and the balsamic drizzle. This is the beet salad. It's made with regular and golden beets, and in between, that's a fresh unaged goat cheese. So we're just about ready for Gary to have a little bite to eat.
I'm ready. So Anthony made all this great food. There's food here for like a dozen people. So I'm going to ask some questions and then have some of it while you answer. How's that?
Okay, I'll talk so you can eat.
So Graham, you're a business guy, okay? Yeah. And then somewhere along the line, you stopped painting houses, because I saw that on LinkedIn, and being a consultant, and you decided to do restaurants. Why restaurants? In TAVOLINO here in Westborough, 2009, the economy.
Yeah.
So talk to me.
Well, restaurants, a little bit of happenstance. I'd done a lot of traveling. I'm very good. I like to tell people I had a lot of experience at the consumer end. And I had a lot of opinions about what I wanted the experience to be. I had worked in restaurants as a kid, all the way through graduate school, in fact. So I knew everything that went on in a kitchen.
What kind of restaurant?
At the low end.
I got to ask.
Anything but fast food. But, you know, I'd worked on a waterfront restaurant, you know,
Nice.
fancy fine dining, La Maison de la Casa House, you know, continental cuisine. Did that, and worked in a pancake house, worked in a bar, worked in the fancy restaurant at the university where, like, the faculty members would eat.
Okay.
I did that. So, you know, quite a variety. So I had some idea what I was getting into operationally. I like managing. I'd been a consultant. Being a consultant, you don't really get to manage. It's kind of like phone sex instead of the real thing. And sometimes you like to do the real thing. So I spent some time thinking.
You know, I'm a consultant.
Yeah, okay, very good. Well, for me, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, I was interviewing and I was looking at consulting positions, and I looked at an empty restaurant space that was near my house on Cape Cod. And just on a whim, it was this type of thing you do on a Tuesday when you've returned every phone call, written every letter, done every piece of follow-up. There's still some time to do. I had this little file of other things I might look at. And one of the things I had was a question about what's the deal with that restaurant space. It was a really nice spot. It had been successful. The restaurant had suddenly closed. Nobody knew why. And I called up the landlord, and we started a dialogue that lasted a couple months. And at the end of that couple of months, I had gotten to the point where I was writing him a proposal and stuffing in a fax machine, and I realized when I hit send, that's going to be a lease. And at that point,
You're a restaurant guy then.
Yeah, I'm no longer interviewing for anything else.
How do you select locations? Because you've got, Sienna and Mashpee, and you've got Tavolino down at Patriot Place.
Right.
Okay, and then you've got this one in Westborough.
Each place has a sense of the place where it is. In other words, it's not a random shopping center, and it's not necessarily a shopping mall. I could even say that about Foxborough, which is sometimes seems like our own little bit of Orlando in the middle of Massachusetts. But still, it's a fairly distinctive place. It doesn't look like anything else around. And that was one thing that I would look at when I'm trying to decide where we want to go. And then beyond that, there's an element of randomness. This restaurant, we hadn't been looking at all in Westborough. It's 90 miles from our first restaurant on Cape Cod, and it was just a little bit outside the radius where we were searching,
Right.
But we got the phone call. And the reason was, across the street from here is a Roach Brothers. And the Roach Brothers was being built at the time, and the guys who were building this new downtown in Westborough were kind of thinking out loud, and in front of the Roach Brothers, they said, we'd really like to have another restaurant here. And there actually are guys who are Roach Brothers, and they have summer houses down on Cape Cod, and they're right next to our restaurant. They come into that restaurant all the time, and that one happens to be almost directly across the street from another Roach Brothers supermarket. And so they mentioned to the people who were building this place that they knew a good restaurant, and maybe they could call us.
So is this going to be like Stop and Shop and Citizens Bank? Everywhere there's a
No,
Stop
no,
and
no.
Shop, there's a Citizens Bank?
That was pretty random, but
Great story, though.
that's just how it started. And it always seems to happen that we are one of many calls that some guy who's building a restaurant site makes. And we are, I'm sure, never the first call. We're pretty far down the list. But at the end of the day, we seem to be the last guys standing. We can get it built.
So when we talked last August, you had some interesting observations about the Westborough Diner and the thoughtfulness of the Westborough Diner. Could you share that?
Our observation is our Westborough guest has kind of an intellectual relationship with the food. We just can't slap any name on a dish. If it's a margarita pizza, which is a standard pizza, it has to have a red, a white, and a green element. Those are the colors of the Italian flag, and those are the colors of the ingredients that are on the pizza. We will inevitably get a discourse from a guest over the course of the night as to what should be green, what should be red, and what should be white in the margarita pizza. All right. In some other place, we might instead hear, "That's a good pizza." We do get that in Westborough too. We're very grateful for the nice comments, but the customer here does have kind of an intellectual relationship with the food. They want to know where the food comes from. They want to know why we decided to do it this way instead of that way. It keeps our staff on their toes. Everybody who is in front of the customer needs to know the history of a dish. When a new dish is put out in the restaurant, it is sampled by all of the staff, and they hear the story from the chef about here's how we came about to make it, here's why these ingredients are in it. We had other choices. We chose not to do those other choices. And the reason for all that is, around here, the customer is not just asking for an order taker. They are going to ask questions about things that are on the menu.
Like what? Give me an example of a question on this delicious dish, which, by the way, my daughter, the next time she runs a marathon, she should have this rather than the spaghetti and meatballs she always has here before every marathon.
Okay, well, the boscaiola, first of all, what is boscaiola? That means of the forest. Okay, so these tend to be mushrooms that are wild mushrooms. You won't see button mushrooms out of a can here.
This really is fabulous.
That pasta, if you can hold up the pasta, it's kind of a funny shape. So people will ask about this. These are called cresta de gallo, which means crest of the rooster. So they have a bit of a frill like a rooster crest. And furthermore, the production process of making this pasta is a little different from typical. This is called a bronze die extruded pasta. So if you imagine a pasta is basically a gigantic, heavy-duty precision metal Play-Doh machine that pushes the Play-Doh through and then slices off the pieces. This one uses bronze dies to set up the shape of the pasta. And that's very old-fashioned. Some bronze dies still in use today could be 150 years old. Modern pasta machines, like if you go to Ronzoni or Barilla or De Cecco from Italy, those will be stainless steel dies that are coated with Teflon. Why do they do that? They can run those machines very, very fast. Okay? And they're very tolerant. Anything can be forced through that. The bronze dies are very touchy. They have to do smaller batches. The pastas tend to be thicker because the dies are old. You'll see shapes like this that you don't see anymore. These are very, very old-fashioned. And the way we sum it up to describe it to our staff so they can explain it to customers is, this is kind of like what a Cape Cod potato chip is to a Lay's potato chip. The modern potato chip is the Lay's potato chip. These are the small batch artisan pastas. The small batch artisan potato chip is the Cape Cod.
So if someone were coming in here for the first time and they're from out of town and they've got to try just the reference dishes, what would you think? Calamari's obviously on.
We say the reference dishes. Calamari, I will tell you what our customers tell us are the reference dishes. Caesar salad, okay? It's a very simple dish. For reasons that escape us, a lot of places do a kind of lame job of it. We pay a lot of attention to it. We feel very bad if we ever do it badly. It's only a few ingredients and they have to be handled well. When it gets put on this smaller plate, it starts out being made in a much bigger bowl. Because when you can toss that nice green romaine lettuce with that dressing, there's a bit of alchemy that occurs. All right? When you asked me about restaurants where I worked at, the first place I worked at, the waitresses would have to get in a half hour early because the waitresses made all the salads. And they put them in one of those plastic bowls that look like wood, and they all go in a refrigerator.
We've all been to that restaurant.
You stick about 200 of them in the refrigerator at the beginning of the shift, and then when people order, you pour the French dressing, the blue cheese dressing, or the Italian dressing, and run it out to the table. Okay? Our salads are composed. They're tossed nicely. They're put on the plate. I'm not trying to sound overly elaborate, but you need to be sure that the cook who's doing that has some respect for that. They will do 1,000 of those salads in a month. And they have to still pay attention to it on salad number 995 because each of those steps, it's a small step, but it really counts. It tastes different.
So is this why, all kidding aside, when I make a salad at home, it never tastes good? Because I go to the store, I go to Roach Brothers, buy all the right ingredients, take everything home, and it just never comes out right.
I can't say. I'll tell you some tricks that we've learned, okay? Because I've learned to do this at home. It's what we do at the restaurant. Start with a big bowl, even if you then compose the salad onto a smaller plate.
That's a mistake for me right off the bat.
Think about what salad means. If you go back to the original Latin or Italian, it means salted greens, okay? Take a little bit of salt, and before you dress that salad, while the greens are dry, sprinkle some salt, ideally some kosher salt, some large grain salt on there, okay? Then you toss it once.
Well, that's my second mistake. I've never put salt in a salad.
A tiny bit. That's what salad means. Then let's say you're just going to do a very traditional, very simple dressing. Buy really good oil, okay, really good extra virgin olive oil. If an Italian came to visit you and you made a salad and it would really be a good salad, chances are they wouldn't say what a good salad or what good dressing this is. If you literally translate what they say, they'll say, this is good oil. That's how they think. So take a really good olive oil. And so now you've tossed it with the salt once. Pour the olive oil on it. Toss it with the olive oil once. Then take some vinegar. And in fact, my personal preference, I don't need a fancy balsamic vinegar. Just a regular red wine vinegar, for example. And sprinkle that on. And that's the third toss. And you're doing this all in the big bowl. Now you turn it out onto the plate. And you've got a very good salad. And the only other thing I would say, similar to what I said about the oil.
And cheese and
you can do that.
All that extra stuff.
You can do that, but if you get really good green leafy romaine or green leaf lettuce, and don't buy the stuff in the bag, buy the stuff you have to spin and dry, wash it and dry it, okay? And then tear it up by hand and then toss it in that big bowl. Each of those steps together, you may think that they add up to nothing, so don't bother to do it. You'll get a bad salad.
So I'm sitting here as you're chatting, munching away.
Yeah.
Now you're talking, I get that, but how do you not enjoy this all day, every day? Because it really is fabulous.
We have a joke about that because if you can't eat calamari every day, And I'll go back in the kitchen and someone will have some pasta dish and I'll look at it and I'll think it looks really good. And I'll say, what is that? Is that on our menu? No, it's not. And so one of the things that I work on every year is, okay, so you make that every day for the staff. Can our customers have it? And there are a few dishes that have made it, like the mushroom pasta was one, that have made it onto our menu that weren't on our menu. It was just something that the staff always ordered. And, you know, because this is a good enough dish and it's a vegetarian dish, you could eat it every day.
Well, Graham, I really appreciate your time today.
All right.
We've got to fly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it and look forward to coming back.
Now, do you want any of this wrap to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Hey, before we go, I wanted to make sure we had a chance to look at the bar here. I just like the feel of the place. I like the things that they've done with lighting. I like the things that they've done with the finish on the bar. And I just think that this is a really nice feel to come have an adult beverage in the evening and enjoy yourself. We're in the main dining room at Tavolino. They've got a couple of really large booths like this. They also have a table like this over in the bar where you can sit 5 or 6 people. Really, really nice for a family on an outing or a big event. And then over here, the rest of the dining room, tables can be put together, moved around. You got bench seating on the outside, which works out really well when there's a large group. So this is a section of the restaurant that they call the pizza bar. I like the pizza bar. You sit here and you get to watch them making the pizza in the back and the ovens and the kitchen and all that. First time my daughter and I came here for the Boston Marathon, this is where we sat, and the two of us, it was a very nice, intimate evening. I'm told that Graham doesn't like this. I'm told that a lot of people don't like this, but I think it's one of the nicer parts of the restaurant as well. So that was Tavolino, upscale Italian dining right here in downtown Westborough. I like the food, I like the atmosphere, and the owner, Graham, what a great guy. So until next time, stay hungry, my friends.